Welcome back to Summon Tesla. I have this car for a year and I figured, you know what better time than now, right now, to tell you guys a little bit about my experiences with Tesla. And I think this is important for many of you who are looking to buy a Tesla, who are looking to maybe possibly get yourself involved in the world of Tesla. And what should you know? What should you not know? There's so much information going around when it comes to Tesla, and there's so much FUD. Now, the problem with FUD is that it's more often than not coming from sources that are not necessarily the most reliable sources. And there are key things that I think are extremely important to know, extremely important to understand, extremely important to get a first-hand perspective of what it is that you're looking at. Ultimately, Tesla is one of those companies that everybody talks about, but very few people actually have the car to talk about. In my case, I have a late 2017 Model S 100D, and for the past year, this vehicle has been beyond what I could have ever imagined. I've owned countless cars in my life, and it gets to the point where you eventually get to question every time you buy a vehicle, should you buy it? Do I want to buy it? What am I going to be surprised with? What am I going to do? How is this all going to work? Is everything that I'm being told true? You go to the dealerships and you get this wonderful story of the car, and you go home, you find out it's not as true as it is. So in my case, my 100D, my Model S 100D, I'm gonna get in a car and I'm gonna tell you guys a few things about this. And I'm not gonna get into all the crazy details, but it might still be a little bit of a longer video. But I think it's important for you to know, after 1 year, what are my true opinions on it, and how have I dealt with having a Tesla. So let's do that. Let's get in a car and let's go over it. The craziest thing is I have done quite a few videos in this car, and I've loved every single moment of it. And owning this car for 1 year has taught me something that I never thought I'd learn from a car company. You can be relaxed, you can just drive, or you can let the car drive for you. But more importantly, it's the community around Tesla. It's the one thing that I was not prepared for. So what are some of the things that you should know about this? What are some of the things you should know before you go out and buy your first Tesla? I'm going to break it down really quickly, kind of shorten everything down. I'll be more specific on all of those eventually in upcoming videos. So let's start off with saying, when you go in to buy a Tesla, it's a different experience. It is not like going in to buy, any other car. It is truly a different experience. It is one that I've never experienced myself, and I've bought more cars than I care to remember. When I first bought the car, there was those unknowns. In 2017, I was still not really sure, okay, should I go for this? It's an all-electric car. I don't know much about it, and there's so much information out there, but there's so many negative people talking so many negative things about it. And then I see these other people that are talking so positively about it, and you kind of have to make up your mind. But I eventually realized that FUD is something that is very, very common. Now, when it comes to FUD, the problem is that who's creating this FUD? It's not Tesla owners. I can tell you that. As an owner myself, I don't see all these things. And by the way, I'm also a shareholder, and I think it's a good disclosure. But I'm also a shareholder, and both as an owner and as a shareholder, I can tell you right now, I have yet to see a negative story about Tesla that is actually true. There are things, it's not a perfect company.
there is no such thing as a perfect company, but there are amazing things that this company does. And from the first year when I bought this car, I took it home, I was mesmerized. And I've been mesmerized by many other cars that I owned before, but this car, after a year, it still mesmerizes me, it still surprises me, and it still only gets better, which is, I think, the most important part here that I think not many people talk about. The car only got better since I owned this car. I'd like to give you a chance to really think about this. I'd like to give you a chance to think about all the vehicles you may have ever owned, and how many of those have only gotten better as time went on. So what do I mean by this car has gotten better? Well, since I owned this car, since I bought it, it got better in braking, better in handling, better in acceleration, better in top speed, better at charging, better at battery management, more fun with new applications and new, basically silly stuff like games and stuff like that as well. But the interface has gotten better as time went on. I remember when I first bought it, 2018 version, and the 2019 version came out, and the interface just blew my mind. Here's this car that just got better over the last year that I have owned the car. And that is, again, something you don't hear people saying too often. The comfort stays the same, and I absolutely look forward to going on any trip. I don't care if it's a 2-hour trip or a 2-week trip. In this car, I can look forward to doing it, and I make specific plans to try and go on trips. I put time aside to try and go on trips because I absolutely enjoy every moment I'm in this car. I have recently posted on both my Instagram account and my Twitter account. By the way, it's if you do want to look at that, it's Summon Tesla. It's really easy, just like the channel name. And I recently posted that this car is more of a family member than it is a vehicle. And I've never said that about anything. It feels like a family member. It feels like it's very strange. And again, I'm not trying to sound cheesy on it. I know I do, but I'm not trying to. It just, there's an attachment to this car like nothing else. I've never had that. But over the past year, I've had little things to deal with. So it's not always perfect. Not everything is perfect. So Tesla service is something you hear a ton of FUD about. Now, the reason I call this FUD is because where I live here in Vancouver, the West 4th Avenue Service Center has treated me with unbelievable amount of respect. Any question I had, they answered. Any little sound I thought I heard, they fixed. And it was never an issue. In fact, the entire year that I was with this car, and I am with this car, I don't believe I ever actually called in and made an appointment. I usually show up on a Saturday morning and just say, listen, I think I have this problem. And they'll take me in, they'll look at it, they'll fix it, move on. But never was there an issue where they actually had to fix something. So what have I had to fix in the last year? I had both of my rear tires had nails in them. I drove in and they just simply changed it out. And for me, it's 400 Canadian dollars to change each tire. Now, just so happens that one week it was my right rear and the next week was my left rear. So literally 2 Saturdays in a row. And I just drive in and there you go. They have tires on hand, no appointment, nothing. They took me in, they dealt with it. So West 4th Service Center in Vancouver is, I have to give them a shout out because they are incredible. They are really, truly incredible. But anything else I've ever had, it's been just simple. It's been easy to deal with them. But I haven't really been there that much. In fact, with the entire year that I've owned this vehicle, I went in there more for the crew, more for saying hello or bringing my friends into a showroom than I did for service. And that says a lot about the company. As for how do I feel about the car, what has it done for me, I am one of the lucky ones. As long as I own the vehicle, I have free supercharging. So I cannot tell you about how much money I've spent on fuel because the answer is zero. How much money I spent on electricity, the answer is zero. I've been using the superchargers. And where I live, I cannot install a actual charger yet. I am planning on moving, however. So I've been using the superchargers and I've never had a problem with superchargers. And it's amazing to me that even the supercharging has gotten better over time. That is something, again, the theme that you get with Tesla is things get better as time goes on. I have spent more money on car washes and cleaning supplies and, making this car pretty than I've spent on anything else on this car, minus the initial purchase, of course. That says a lot. It's a vehicle that just gives you a sense of comfort. It gives you a sense of calm. And that is something that I don't think anyone else has done yet. Ultimately, before you go and buy a Tesla, the first thing you should do, if you're thinking about it, is get in one. Get into a Tesla. Decide for yourself. People like myself, people who write about these cars, we can be of help. Talk to the owners. Find an owner of a Tesla. Chat with them. Figure it out. Don't listen to so many things going around because it can discourage you from making one of the best purchases of your life. The other aspect of this vehicle is something that I find very, very interesting is after owning it for a year, I still have not gotten bored of it. That exhilaration has not gotten away from me. When I first bought my very first house, for the first 6 months, there was that sensation that you of accomplishment that you bought your first house. The first time I bought my very first car, it sticks with you, and that first 3 months, it's amazing, Typically, all that goes away. All that beginning stages, all of it goes away. With Tesla, it hasn't gone away yet. After a year, I still feel like literally the first day I bought her. I know more than I did the first day, but I still put the same smile on my face every time I look at the car. Even on a bad day, even on days where I'm just busy as busy can be, I go to the car and there's a smile on my face. I don't know how many cars you can say that about, but this is after a full year. It's incredible. Those of you who really truly want something that is, in my opinion, the future, these cars are the perfect example of what cars can be. They really are. They are the example of what the next generation of your kids, your grandkids are going to be driving. And it's not going to stop. Regardless of what you hear, regardless of what you see, ultimately the company is just growing. You hear about demand, and depending on when you watch this video, you might still be hearing about demand issues. Well, as previously stated, the showroom and service center on West 4th Avenue is currently delivering about 100 to 120 cars a day. Yeah, I get a feeling there's a huge demand issue. I have my very good friends picking up their cars almost weekly at this point. And this is me, just me, not including everyone else that I don't know. Ultimately, after a year of driving this amazing piece of machinery, she became part of the family. She became part of something that I love and I take care of. I've had the unfortunate scenario where somebody has hit my car. Unfortunately, this car was hit 3 times now. And all 3 times it was fixed and there's not a scratch on her. You don't see it. You don't feel it. And despite what many people tell you, yes, it may take time for certain parts. But in my case, almost every time it never took more than 2 weeks. And I can tell you from previous cars being hit in other cars, unfortunately I live in Vancouver, there's a lot of bad drivers, but it doesn't matter if it's an electric car or an ICE car or whatever it could be. The fact of the matter is, for a body shop they need time. 2 weeks is actually a fair time. Now there is some truth to the amount of time it takes, and I think that depends on where you are and the type of damage there is. In some cases it can definitely take longer, and that's the truth, that's a fact. But this will improve over time. But if you want a piece of the future, you want to travel into the future with this moment, go jump in a Tesla. You'll be surprised at what you're gonna discover, what you're gonna see. Yeah, 1 year with this car has been absolutely the most memorable year as far as any other vehicle I've ever owned, and I've owned quite a few. If you want to give yourself something that is worth its weight in gold, these cars really do that. The price initially is high. I have to agree that it is much more difficult for a lot of people to buy a Tesla, but you pay and you get what you pay. You really do. I always say you get what you pay for, and in this case you really do. But unless you actually get in one, you won't understand if it makes sense. My friends do. The people I've talked to, they understand it. 1 year with this car, 0 battery degradation, better performance, better braking, better handling, better acceleration, better everything, better software, no wear and tear on the interior, no wear and tear on the exterior. It's only been a year, but it has been an amazing year. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I helped you guys in any way, shape, or form. I hope you got some answers that you're looking for. And if you did, well, comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Subscribe to the channel. I am trying to grow this channel. And, let me know what you want me to make a video about. I make my videos based on your questions. With all that said, I'm going to say thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. Thank you very much for listening to me. And thank you in advance for subscribing to the channel. Drive safe. Bye bye.